All right. Hey, everybody. Tonight I have my very special guest, Penny Bradley. She's going to be sharing about navigation, and I just let her have the floor to talk about all of the things that she wants to talk about. So, Penny, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, or and just go ahead and take the floor from here.
Hi. Hmm, this is not the first time we've talked, but it's the first time on your show.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been not obsessing, but occasionally listening to your show, so I have some idea of what you do.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
And not to be rude, but I kind of wait a year or two for new people so that they have a chance to become more comfortable with their memories. Because that first year or so they're just overwhelmed.
yeah.
And I've had guests that I remembered them, so I had them on right away, and they ended up recanting things that they had remembered wrong. And
Oh,
as they got more memories, they understood that, and they had the intellectual honesty to say so,
yeah.
where a lot of these people would just double down. So but that was why I hadn't had you on, was I was giving you time to mature as a whistleblower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you have a
So
lot of people on too, so you've had a lot of people on your show. Joseph and Arkeem and um the list goes on of forgot everybody, Eliana and
I've
um
had a, I've had a
who
lot of
else?
people on. I used to have a weekly show on
Yeah.
Global Enlightenment Radio Network, and I had 2 hours a week to fill.
Wow.
So it was daunting because some of these people wanted to do 30 minutes and leave. In fact,
Oh.
I've had people do 30 minutes and leave, and I had to fill the rest of the time. Um, but yeah, um,
I like yours and Joseph's a lot. I like that one. It's lots of good information that y'all shared.
Joseph and I actually served together, and his alter Pindar is probably one of the nastiest individuals I've ever had to encounter. There are two people I remember blowing up their heads, and Joseph's Pindar is one of them. And I was actually shocked that Joseph remembered it.
Yeah. A- And you explain because has all of his altars. So they just come forward. Or did he come forward in that when during your interview?
During our interview, whichever altar we were discussing would come forward and take over, and I would be talking with that altar, the one who had actually done it. Where I've been merging mine as much as possible, his are still separate people in his head and pop up, they talk to him, and they take over sometimes, but he has full memory of it most of the time. He has one altar that he doesn't have, and he figured out what triggered that altar and he stopped doing it. But I would have a really hard time living that way.
Yeah, he manages it okay, I guess, then, huh? Or he would probably try to integrate it, I would guess, if it didn't bother him.
He may not know how to integrate it.
Mm.
That was something that was hard for me. I had to work at it. It wasn't
Wow.
something that came easy.
What do you do? How people do ask that?
Okay, what I do, Lou is Iroquois and Swiss and Welsh. We did his family tree. And he was trained as an Iroquois shaman by his grandmother before he went to Vietnam. That wolf that some of you feel or see with me is actually his.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's his spirit animal. And where was I going with this? Oh, we have a telepathic connection because of my psionic training and my genetic modification. Okay, this is not something everybody can pull off. So don't feel bad if you can't. Not everybody has the genetics to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not meaning that you're inferior. It's just you just can't.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm,
your trust too. You trust him, so you was able
yeah,
to let it
and
go.
I trust him. Oh God, when we first got together, I was telling him about that I would drift off, go astral. And so he comes up to me and he sticks his four fingers into my underarm area, and he just lifts. And I'm like, oh my
Oh,
God, oh my
wow.
God, oh my God. He's lifting me up out of my body. And he
Oh,
puts me back and he says, you don't have the anchors normal people have. That's how I'm able to be a navigator, is
okay.
I don't have the anchors everybody else has.
Mm,
So
wow.
instead of being anchored in my body, I can anchor in the ship.
Oh, wow.
So that's what my genetic modification, that's one of the things it does.
Yeah.
So, but he found that out. We've been together 24 years and we dated for, I guess, 8 months before that. Um, and I was married to a mafia hitman,
Oh.
and he was poisoning me for life insurance money.
Mm,
And Lou and I worked in the same place, and he was the security guard, and I was the janitor. Seriously, I was the janitor there.
mm-hmm.
And it was a limestone quarry. So I worked really hard, and I would come home every night from work there. I would be covered with limestone powder and have to shower immediately, leave my clothes at the door, go to the shower. And yeah, I had kids in the house, but they were all asleep when I got home, or they were supposed to be anyway.
Yeah.
And so I dropped my clothes in the kitchen, head for the shower. That's the first thing I would do when I get home. And I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker
In your
because
lung, in your breathing, huh?
I
Like breathing
well
it in.
not from that. It was
Oh,
I my doctor thought it was from that, but it wasn't. It was the hitman was dipping ant-bait steaks in my coffee.
oh my God.
He had life insurance on me that he wanted. And I even I had a being of light, your classic angel story.
Mm-hmm.
This being appeared to me and said, your lupus was only a skin disease before you lived with this man.
Mm,
Pay attention. And I asked, what's he doing? And it was, I'm not allowed to tell you. You have
mm,
to figure it out for yourself.
mm.
Yeah, I get a lot of that. So, um,
No. Wow.
I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. And my husband moved his ex-wife and their kids into my house. His kids were all in their 20s. They weren't little. One of them had children of her own that she brought in. And so my house had gone from me, him, and my youngest, who was in high school, and sometimes my middle son when he wasn't away at college, to suddenly there were 12 people there, all
Oh,
adults.
oh,
And I was getting sicker and sicker. And I eventually wised up and made everybody leave except my kids. And I was too sick to work. I couldn't pay the rent. And so I was selling my stuff. I was going to send my youngest to go live with my mother in Tennessee. And I was going to live in my car. Lou and I hadn't known each other long enough, I didn't think. And he found out I was going to do that. And he said, "The hell you will. You and your youngest will move in with me, and I will take care of you, and you don't have to pay
Oh,
me anything or do anything,"
no.
which was probably a good thing because at that point I couldn't even shower by myself. I
Oh,
was so
wow.
sick. Um, I had been a lay minister at the local Episcopal church, and I ended up excommunicated. And yeah, lay ministers are not supposed to move in with men they're not married
Oh, okay.
to. Those are the rules, yes. And my husband, I divorced him, and he swore that he would destroy me, and he swore that if I was ever happy, he would shoot me. That would be when he would kill me. That as long as I was miserable, he would let me live. Well, he got stupid in 2019 and thought he was going to testify against the mafia. And he's no longer with us.
Good. That's good.
So, in case people wondered, no, I did not cry for him.
Hell no.
I just kind of went into shock.
Yeah,
And
thinking like, oh my God, I'm so happy.
well,
Shock of happiness,
I
like
wasn't exactly happy, but I was so relieved.
relieved, yeah, that you didn't have to feel that pressure of
It took
him.
it took me years to get to
Yep.
where I could function again.
Yeah.
And I finally got back to work, and then I got hurt at work. Um, I had 10 discs in my back go out at once.
Oh, wow. 10.
And yeah, I was just getting to where I could move around pretty good, and then that happened, and I haven't worked at a regular job since
Mm,
because I ended up paralyzed for 3 weeks.
mm,
So in 2013, I met this man. He was an NSA agent, and he paid for me to go to Washington D.C. with him. He wanted me to see what I what was really going on there because I was mad. I was doing political commentary. Um, if you pay attention to my stuff on my wall, I do disclosure movement. I also do truther.
mm.
Not QAnon, old school truther. And I give references, you know, I give links.
I remember your first videos you did, like you had like a board or something like that. I remember, but I forget all that you was talking about in those first videos with the dry
Yeah,
erase board or something.
yeah, I still have that dry erase board. Um, it's harder to use with the background.
Mm-hmm.
But oh yeah, that dry erase board was great. Um, I used that to explain the loops,
Yeah.
mission
That's,
loops.
yeah, I remember. He was like from here to here and then it went over to the side or something like that.
Yeah, it was mission loops because you're in this timeline and you actually live like you're in time, and then they flip you back and you're back in time, and you've been in time the whole time, but you're both places at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's without a visual, it's almost impossible to explain that to somebody.
Yeah.
Like you draw.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Without a visual, people just go, "Buh."
Yeah, they like now what? I don't understand, you know.
Yeah. Most people have to have sound and sight together to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to do that, but it doesn't always work. But yeah, I still have the dry erase board. I actually use the easel for it to hold up my green screen.
Oh, okay. That works then, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
useful. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I paid a whole lot of money for both. I mean, you're doing podcasts, you know how that goes.
Mm-hmm. These are tapestries, So I got the tapestries and I sit like in the corner. So there's like a angle right here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool. We live in a small apartment, and we're preppers, and it doesn't look that good on screen. So
Yeah.
I have a green screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard to live with. It's just shelving, but it looks weird on camera. So I have a green screen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the things that I have been dealing with is kind of an understanding of the plan behind what's going on. And that's a whole nother issue. We
Mm.
wanted to talk about navigation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, navigators have certain specific skill sets. Okay, um, and it's genetic. You cannot pick up Joe Blow off the street and train them to be a navigator. You have to have somebody with the right set of genetics. And most of the time, they actually use CRISPR tech to insert the right genetics into you.
Mm.
So it's not like having a third parent, it's just specific bits are added. So mine came from Alpha Draconian. Some of the navigators, it comes from Zeta Grays.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the American government have captured both. So they've gotten the DNA from the actual ETs. So the skill sets you need, you have to be able to not be anchored in your body. You have to be able to leave your body and anchor into the ship as if it were your body. You have to become the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a key thing because most people are very anchored into their body. The next thing you have to be able to do is bilocate physically and take physical objects with you.
Wow.
That's that's how it works. Your psi ability works with the computer that's doing the math. And the combined efforts, you take the ship into this. Okay, reality is like radio stations. Specific frequencies are the station, and in between, you've got open space. You fly the ship through the open space. And there are already tunnels there in that open space that they want you to use. Because when you go through a clean space, you leave a hole.
Mm.
And eventually that tears up the fabric of space time. So you're expected to use the tunnels that are already there. So you become the ship, and you take the entire ship with all of its contents, all of its people, all of its ETs, all of its cargo, everything else. You go into this tunnel. You're visualizing where you want to be, and you eventually get out the other end. And this is the important place. When Tony Rodriguez talks about it, he says that when they would come and they would get dizzy and they would be told they had to stand still for 10 minutes. That 10 minutes was to give the navigator time to make sure all of the organic life forms were separated from the inorganic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's done telepathically.
Yeah. Like you just scan their whole, are they like in a like how are they standing up or something in a thing like that presses them to the wall? Are they sitting? How do they
Are,
travel with
are they
you?
standing next to another life form? Because some of these ships have ETs as crew,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So most navigators are either Alpha Draconian or they're, other name is Thuban, or they are Zeta Grays. And so you have ET life forms on this ship too. And you have to keep them from being in the floor or the wall or the box that they're standing next to or inside the plant that they're standing next to, because they have
Mm-hmm.
greenery. We have grow flowers, stuff like that. You have to make sure we don't repeat the USS Eldridge and people in the wall and the floor. That's the main job of the navigator, is to make sure that doesn't happen. So you need to be able to separate from your body and connect to the ship. You need to be able to bilocate and take physical objects with you. And you need to maintain a telepathic connection with every life form on your ship. And some of the more powerful ones can do more than one ship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to help you along, they chip you with, it's the same thing as Elon Musk's Neuralink. It's spelled different. There's a different vowel in the middle. It's a O or instead of an A or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And it chips you into the ship's computer. And you've already had black goo, at least in the German fleet. And what it does is it makes you 2 to 4 times smarter than you already are. It makes you extremely logical. It enhances your psychic abilities, but it does it at the expense of your emotions. So the only emotion you have left is anger.
Mm.
And they left that because that's what they use to power the psionics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it like a giant ship though? It can be any size that you could.
Any size ship.
Hmm.
Um, the big requirement on how big of a ship you can use is how many people you can contact telepathically and scan at once. That's the limiting factor,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't spend an hour when you come out of hyperspace. It has to be 10 minutes or less. People won't stand still that long.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
The enhancement helps then. The neural link, however, and then the black goo,
yeah,
that helps.
that helps. That helps keep, you know, so me here right now, I don't have black goo. I don't have the chip in me here because they remove it before they send me back. I'm not linked to a computer. Now, my brain is entrained with those pathways. So I tend to be linear. I tend to be logical. I tend to go science rather than mystic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I can't, it's that this is what my brain was trained to do in these programs.
Yeah.
So I'm finding I have a hard time dealing with a lot of what's said in disclosure movement, because so much of it comes out so emotional, and
I know.
I have no point of connection to it.
It's hard. I know. Yeah.
So, um,
Because we're like, why is just say it how it is, and why is it so painful, and why do you have to be so hurt by it? Just say it, or so we don't all
well,
the way understand.
part of the hurt is your cover person here has ideas of what's right and wrong that your alter doesn't share. Okay, that wolf that I talked about, that's actually Lou's wolf, she told me telepathically that I, Penny, cover altar, earth altar, Penny, has to stay dominant over all of my altars because I'm the only one with an ethical compass.
Hmm.
That in the process of reintegrating my altars, and I've done 45 of them now,
Wow. Wow, that you
that,
found that many. Wow.
oh, I have 2,200 total.
Oh my goodness.
So
Wow.
I have reintegrated 45. She told me that none of them have an ethical compass, that all of them left to their own devices will kill people.
Oh,
So in the reintegration process, I have to stay dominant. So because I know right from wrong and they
yeah,
don't.
you're grounded.
I work at that.
Hmm.
When you've got 45 other people in your head and they're all part of a matrix and you have to be boss, you have to be grounded. There's no room for meltdowns. There's no room for temper tantrums. There's no room for emotional bullshit.
Hmm.
There's just no room because if I allow myself to do that, then one of them takes charge.
Yeah,
And the world doesn't need that.
yeah, because they need a strong, grounded leader. And then if the front person isn't going to be that, then someone else will be that.
Well, the altar that was on Mars, the first one that was broken off, that was the one that was sent to Mars, that was a fighter pilot on Mars. She is your classic German officer. And occasionally she's still able to find a voice and she expresses displeasure. She thinks I'm a coward because I let things ride. In my terms, I'm choosing my battles. Some
Yeah,
things are simply not worth the time and effort to fight over.
right. Because you would be fighting her forever because she's just like
Well,
that.
I would be fighting the public forever. In
Yeah,
fact, I've been public since September of 2016, and I had a comment on YouTube today that I was a nutcase.
still that's going on. I can't believe it,
You know,
That's,
it's all this time, all this effort, all this documentation that these programs are real, that real people are remembering these, that there's lots of us, and that we can't all be nut jobs. And we've still got people out there saying we're crazy.
hmm.
And some of them are agents being paid to say we're crazy.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Well, Olivia James has written a book about it. I forget the name of her book.
Project Oblivion or
Project Oblivion is the program she talks about. Her book series is Gray Mouse, but I don't know what the individual titles are.
hmm, I forget too. It's red
Um,
and with a mouse. I know that.
yeah, it's red with a gray mouse. But she talks about Project Oblivion. Now, I knew I was being shot at with directed energy weapons. That was why I went public. I, I wouldn't have gone public if it was just me. They were
Yeah.
also shooting Lou, and that's not cool.
Mm-mm.
He wasn't
No.
he wasn't involved with this. There's no reason for them to be trying to kill him. But what was it we did? We would How did we reintegrate? Going back to your original question. I didn't forget,
Yep.
was just chasing rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Lou and I go into a trance together without drugs. Real shamans can do that.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. We're sitting across from each other, holding hands, looking in each other's eyes. We've gone into this trance together, and we call up my alters that want to be reintegrated. And he is acting as gatekeeper because in the past I've had entities trying to sneak in.
Mm.
And he is there watching as they come up and making sure that they're actually my alters or my past life fragments and not an entity. And so we get, if it's my choice, there's never more than 3.
Mm-hmm.
Um, any more than that, and you just
Yeah, because when they come up, then what do? Does it act out or say stuff or just go?
when 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 an entity comes up, Lou takes it out. Uh, but I will get the 2 or 3 and call them in, and we sit together
Oh,
and slowly melt into each other.
okay.
And as we melt into each other, we start to share thoughts, feelings, memories. They don't disappear. And during this melting together, I shift a lot. And depending on what their personalities were, I can be very different
Yeah.
from moment to moment
Mm-hmm.
because it's not actually me.
Right.
Um, some of them have been oversexed. Well, they were used as sex slaves, sex assassins. Yes, all of us who have been in SSP have these. This
Yeah.
is part, this is part of what they do to us.
Yep.
So anybody out in the public that's upset, oh, they have they have a sex kitten altar. Well, all of us do deal with
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yep.
It's part of what they do to us.
Yeah.
So you know, if someone's coming forward, they don't have alters, they don't have a sex kitten altar, they don't have mood swings, they don't get crazy sometimes, they don't get mad and tell you to F off, I start to wonder if they're real
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because the real ones are unstable.
Yep.
We have dissociative identity disorder. We're potentially dangerous, every damned one of us. And if you're not expressing that exhaustion from your soul fragment being too small, if you're not expressing anger over the crap that's been done to you, if you're not, if you're too whole and you're too holy, because the stuff they do to us, it leaves a stain on your soul.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I had a reader on X, formerly known as Twitter, tell me that my soul reading that I was a metallic molten gold, which is a higher realm, but that my core was bright red, which is survival,
Mm-hmm.
and black in spirals. And that the black is from what they did to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to be rid of that. And people need to understand the real ones of us are not holy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of us are screwed with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who are they choosing? They are choosing people from the bloodline, but they're not necessarily choosing the princes. They're choosing, if you go back in history, you have a family. If they like each other, they have lots of kids because birth control wasn't a real thing until the 1960s. So you have one that's sacrificed because their religion does that. You have one that replaces daddy. You have a second that's a spare in case something happens to that one. And if nothing happens to the first one and he replaces daddy, then the spare ends up being an ally. The girls are married off first off to your enemy to bring in an alliance, and secondly to your most loyal followers to reward them, because that draws everybody into your circle. Nobody marries for love.
Mm.
Okay? But then you run out of people to marry them off to. What happens to the rest? I mean, I have couples in my family tree with 12 kids. What happens to the ones that there's nobody for them to marry? Okay? What really happens is the boys are taught a trade. A lot of the girls were put into convents. They became abbesses. Some of them had babies anyway. But all of those extra kids got pushed down to the middle class. And over time, they dropped lower and lower and lower. And you end up with a lot of people with those genetics, but no land, no money, no power, no title. Those are the people that they're targeting for these programs.
Mm.
Because the royals, the original royals, not necessarily the ones we have today, the original royals were descended from Enki in Sumeria. And so they were hybrids.
Mm. Mm.
And they had ET DNA that gave them psionic abilities. And that's what these programs are looking for, is people that already have psionic abilities so they don't have to. CRISPR tech's expensive and a lot of the babies die in the process. And that's the bottom line, was money. I had a twin sister that died in the process. This is something people don't talk about. Well, how did you get it? CRISPR tech. It's an injection into the baby. Well, anytime that you do an injection into the baby, there's a 1 in 200 chance of killing the baby. So, people think that we're making this stuff up, but you start looking at records and you find it everywhere. You find all of the supporting evidence. You just have to put it together. I have a brain MRI that shows damage consistent with being in a centrifuge like astronauts.
Mm.
The first neurologist that looked at that said, "Oh, you're going to be dead in 5 years. Get your affairs in order." And I'm like, really? Okay. That was in 2005.
Mm.
So it's obviously
Yeah.
not what he thought it was.
Yeah.
So, but when they put astronauts in a centrifuge, which I've been diagnosed with a variant of this problem since 1984. So I've had this 42 years.
Hmm.
It's not going to kill me,
Right.
but 42 years ago, the only way you got this without being a disease issue was if you were put in a centrifuge like an astronaut.
That's the spin thing.
That's the spin thing where they train you for G levels.
Hmm.
And what it does is it separates your brain hemispheres.
Oh, goodness.
A normal brain, the two hemispheres are touching and really connected. My brain is a half inch apart,
Hmm.
which scares neurologists. They think it means I'm going to drop dead.
Mm.
So I'm still here. I still make sense when I talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
so there are signs that go with what we had done to us.
Yeah.
You just have to be willing to look at it. And most people, we can't go to Mars.
Hmm.
So anything you mention about Mars, I've had people tell me Mars isn't even a real place.
Mm.
And I'm sorry, Mars is a real place and there are people there.
Yeah.
When I was on Mars, I left in 1990. There were 10 million Germans in 2 towns that were being built, and there were 10 million tall whites in an underground city in the southern hemisphere, and there was a base with 500,000 alpha draconians that was very close to the base that we were in, that I knew as Eris Prima. And we were leaving it because it had been built for alpha draconians and it was impossible to keep the thing warm enough.
Oh.
The ceilings were too high.
Hmm.
Um, Alpha draconians are 3 times as tall as we are. Well,
Yeah.
two and a half, 3 times as tall as we are. So they had these really high ceilings,
Hmm.
and it gets outrageously cold every night. So you are constantly having to maintain temperature,
Mm.
and it was just too expensive. We had been using the angular momentum of the planet to generate electricity, and as they got more cities and more bases, they discovered that each time they added to that particular model for creating electricity, that it slowed the orbit of the planet.
Oh.
So they had to come up with another way to create electricity. There are several methods out there. There's cold fusion, there's angular momentum, there's pulling it out of the ambient energy in the atmosphere, which is actually pulling it out of other frequencies. Okay, I'm going to get weird on you. Physics. When they talk about dark matter, they're talking about mass that we can't see, physical mass that we don't see it. We don't see it because it's in those other frequencies.
Hmm.
When they talk about pulling out the ambient energy, They're talking about pulling energy from those other frequencies.
Oh, wow.
And when we have an atomic explosion, it explodes into those other frequencies as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we've had so many intrusions of interdimensionals since we did the atomic testing and warfare in the 1940s, is because we are damaging their world. They're coming in to tell us to knock that crap off, and we're
Mm-hmm.
saying, no, we need this because the Russians, and they're frantic because we're destroying their world. So that's my brief foray into physics.
Yeah. I mean, I followed you, so
Okay. Um,
yeah.
I try not to do the math on air because people can't follow it. There's
Mm-hmm.
no point. At that point, it's just ego, and I don't need that crap.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know I'm not all that. I'm just sharing what happened to me and what I know from being
Mm-hmm.
out there.
Yeah.
So I do get mad at people that think it's a game because it's not. The group that I was originally kidnapped as part of, there were 1,000 of us in 1959 in Langley, Virginia, at the Air Force Base. There were 1,000 kids between the ages of 4 and 9.
That sounds a lot.
1,000 of us. At the end of 5 years, there were less than 30.
Oh, wow.
They killed the rest of those kids.
Mm. Mm.
And to me, they're why I'm talking.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's what I'm really wanting people to know
Mm-hmm.
is this technology, this ability that they think is so damn cool, it's based on killing people. They kill 1 in 200 of the kids that they modify. And then they get us into these programs where they're training us and they kill. We had a 2% survival rate. You
They
know,
didn't regenerate or they didn't do anything with
they
that.
would they would regenerate until your mind was catatonic.
Okay.
Once you went catatonic, it was the incinerator.
Mm-hmm.
They had no way to bring that back. All of those kids, they tortured them over and over and over and over until their
Mm.
mind gave up, and then they burned them alive.
So evil.
That's the best word for it. It's absolutely evil.
Mm-hmm.
And the program, the technology that they used to mind fracture and train us came straight from the mothers of darkness,
Oh.
the people in Belgium that are the major Satanists of the world. I'm not sure that they actually would call themselves Satanists because most of them don't believe Satan is actually real. They're worshiping Moloch or Baal.
Mm-hmm.
There's a half dozen or so ancient Canaanite deities that are still in play, and that's who they're actually worshiping.
Yeah. Because they sacrifice a child, but when they're doing that, then they call in one of the entities to get into the blood or. Is that what they do with the rituals with that?
I don't I don't have conscious memory of it.
Hmm.
I'm sure that I have at least one altar that was involved because most of us do.
Yeah. Or what and watched it and drank and we had to.
Uh,
There was no thought of not doing it because we was programmed, you know.
I have memories of being 14 and taken to Los Angeles to meet Baphomet, and that was during a blood ritual. So, yeah, this stuff's very real. There
Hmm.
are a lot of children who are killed in the process. The thing at Langley was completely controlled by the Office of Scientific Studies, and that is the OSS they didn't shut down.
So they just was torturing the children or they wanted they was were they trying to steal their um abilities or what were they doing?
What they were trying to do was mind fracture so that they would have an alter to work with that
Hmm.
would, so the main person would not remember what they did.
Right.
That was number one. Number two, they trained those alters to do their jobs.
Hmm.
Most of those alters were trained to kill. So they had to kill each other in st- regularly increasing in difficulty ways. In the process, we were taught, because there was a regen tank, that death was not an option, that obedience was the only answer. And while we were at it, they were activating our psionic abilities, things like bilocation. They would lock us into places from which there was no escape.
Oh,
The
okay.
only, the only way you could get out was to bilocate physically.
Wow.
And they needed that ability for a navigator. So the people that did not have that ability died in those
And
pits.
that mm-hmm.
And they would sometimes bring them out and revive them and put them in a different program.
Mm.
But yeah, there weren't even 30 of us that survived it. It was 2%.
Mm.
2% survival rates.
And how did they send you to Mars like on a jump room or how
A
did you get
jump
there?
There's a jump room, and John Whitberg found the photo for me. It was
Oh,
in the old Watchtower building. It's under a bridge, or the photograph it looks like is under a bridge in New York City. And yeah, we were in that, the jump gates in that.
is there a jump gate or a submarine? Sean said that there's a submarine base in the New York near New York in like a in the harbor area, and that's what they used when I was 7, and then they send like a group of us in that area to Mars. So I'm thinking
Uh,
it's a jump
Camp
gate.
Camp Hero has a submarine base, and it's at the northern tip of Long Island, which is New York City area.
Yeah.
There's another jump gate that I know of that is on Sepulveda Boulevard in Los Angeles, and that was where um, Andy Bajago
Oh, okay.
went through. And yes, guys, Andy's real.
Mm-hmm.
He may have been lied to about becoming president, but he's
Oh,
real.
yeah. Probably
Um,
another timeline or something, huh? That he was talking about.
um, Project Pegasus had a bunch of people. Some of them did become president, and most of them did not, but they were training them together. And maybe on another timeline split they did, but on this one they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, he was really there. He and I have talked about that we don't remember the same wildlife on Mars, and
Oh,
he didn't know there were Germans there. Um, but Dar- Daryl's mother, Doris Neely, she was the CIA archivist who uploaded our files, and she's verified both of us. And because Andy didn't remember the Germans, he thought I was fake for a long time until Doris verified me.
mm,
So then we compared notes, and I was primarily in the far northern hemisphere. So, and primarily on a fighter plane, what would be here, we would call it near Earth orbit, but it was same thing, just on Mars.
yeah.
That's
Is there the two moons there? Is that the Probius or Probus, however? Is that
Phobos and Deimos.
Yeah, is that a flight school on Probus? Is there a flight school?
There's a flight school with a base on one of them, and the other one you can't live on because it keeps getting hit with lightning and it shorts out all the electronics.
Mm,
I forget which is which. It's the one that has the closer to Mars orbit
yeah.
is the one that gets hit with lightning, and the other one has the base,
Oh, okay.
the flight school.
Yeah.
And the Germans on Mars have a defense force, Marxische Heimschild, Martian Martian Home Shield is
Oh,
what it
okay.
is in English. And they have a protection grid where you do not get into Mars without their consent. So the Americans that sent all of the stuff that's there, the rovers and the near Earth orbiters and those things, they all had to get permission from the Germans on Mars first.
Mm,
That's why so many were shot down at the beginning. They didn't
yeah.
get permission.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So the flight school, do you think a lot of kids are taken there and trained in flight school just to test to see what they'll do? How does that?
I think all of the kids that survive the mind fracture steps are taken to Mars to learn how to operate on another world. That's their first stop.
Hmm.
Basic training is on Mars. Once they get through the basic training, then they're sent wherever they're going.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he
there's,
said I could
I,
he said
I think
I was there at the flight school from age 7 to 18.
that was Sean,
Uh-huh.
Sean Bond.
Yeah,
Uh,
and then when I graduated there, and then I was taken into other navigations for 70 years, and he said I went through um like I guess jump not jump gates, but portals or something into other places, not like other galaxies or something too. And then for the German, so it's like I stayed in space a lot as a navigator.
you do tend to be used. Navigators are expensive because they have to CRISPR our
Oh, okay.
DNA, and the training is more extensive because we have to learn how to bilocate physically. Um, so we're rarer, and most of the navigators I've encountered were either Draco or Zeta.
Yeah,
They're
I think it would be Zeta. I would think so. It's what I see when you say that, you know?
both kinds can do it.
Oh, okay. It's not just one or
I've
the
been
other.
It's not one or the other. It's both
Okay.
kinds can do it, and some ships have both.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
you would need because where you're
Americans,
going.
the Americans tend to have Zetas on their ships. The Germans tend to have the Draco. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I when Pendar, Joseph Howell's alter, defected to ICC, I was put in charge of that armada, even though I was navigator. And it's 20 ships, and 5 of them are Draco ships with full Draco crew.
Wow.
So,
That you control all 20 of them?
yeah, I
Wow.
I don't control them. Come on,
Well,
it's
you fly them or however.
I fly them together as a unit.
Yeah.
I don't come I pass on the information of where we're supposed to be going and what we're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more of a conduit rather than a boss.
Okay.
But I do enforce regulations where Pandar ran it like a pirate ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I enforce regulations, and it's an actual military armada, and everybody's getting along because they understand what the rules are and they understand violations will be punished.
Mm.
Violations will be punished according to regulations, not according to personal whim.
Yeah.
And so it's been, I hope it's been a better experience for the folks that are there. Um, so
Mm. I wonder if you remember Tim Seabury, and he was talking about on the video you posted last week or so. It was like last year's video of him and John,
mhm,
and y'all was talking about the Mars, how he uh blew up a base on Mars that was like a cloning center.
mhm,
And he said, because I said that I was there like it was George Bush Senior's cloning center. He said, "You mean whatever it's called?" And I said, "That's it? You blew it up?" And I was like, "Oh, so I'm not there no more." So I'm like, "Thank you. I'm not a slave no more making all these clones." And he said, "Yeah,
yes.
Penny's was down in the base too, or somewhere there too." So I didn't
Um,
I didn't
yeah,
remember that.
I've only reintegrated 45 out of 2,200 altars, so I don't know what the others have been up to.
Yeah, so that's another one of them.
That would be one that I don't remember. Um,
I guess it's blown up then, huh? Because he
uh,
blew up that base.
when if if I was there as an American, I was in a clone and would have bounced back to me.
Mm-hmm. That's what I
Um,
think too.
if I no, that's the way their process works. They take you, they insert you in a clone, they pull up the altar that they want, and that you're in it for the duration of the 20-year tour or until the clone gets killed, which
Mm-hmm.
is how they send you back is they kill the clone.
Mm.
Um, the Germans take you in your natural body. So if you get killed out there, they have to regenerate you or you're dead for good.
Oh, okay.
So it's different technologies. And I have been awake in the process of being transferred into the clone. So I know that's what the Americans do.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know that the clone has a mind and soul of its own.
Mm-hmm.
We are possessing our identical twins.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's just as evil as anything else they do to us.
Do you remember George Bush Senior ever seeing him anywhere?
I don't remember my American service. I've been, except the one altar that was operating under James Rank. We were in a unit where he was my unit commander.
Mm.
That's the only American American thing I remember. I'm aware that I have an altar under Kruger that's in a cyborg, and she flies a shuttle
Mm.
between the moon and Mars, but she only has like animal awareness. So that's not like being an altar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just animal awareness. I'm here. She had registered that she knew James. Uh, James got really mad when I blew up a cyborg factory because it killed our unit inside, and he had been looking forward to getting the upgrade.
Mm.
And
Mm. Oh.
Penny popped into the altar and freaked out and exploded the place. Um, I give off an, an EM pulse when I freak out. Blew up the power plant to the factory.
Oh, okay. That was on Mars, or where was that at?
That was on Mars,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the places that scientists are saying there's a volcano on Mars. It's not a volcano. It's an exploded power plant.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
after that, Nachtwaffen came in and destroyed the factory where ICC was storing asset consciousness. They have they have magnetic bottles that they come when we die. They find out we die, they travel back in time to when we die, they have this magnetic bottle and they trap our consciousness as we die.
Oh,
And it,
wow.
and they were storing them in these magnetic bottles in this factory along with a tissue sample so they could clone us.
Mm-hmm.
And they would wait 3.5, 4 months and bring them back because after 3.5, 4 months, you don't remember who you are. Well, they know who you are. They know what you're trained for. They know what you're capable of doing. So they bring you back. You think you're a brand new person, and they're enslaving you for a whole nother round.
Oh, okay.
And the Germans decided that that was evil, and so they blew the factory up and let all those people be dead.
Mm.
So
That's good. That's
I
good.
thought so.
Yeah.
So that's another one of those volcanoes on Mars.
Yeah, that's good. Those places needed to be that. I bet that's similar then to where I was then, where you was too. Because Tim
It,
says you was underground. I forgot what he said. You was there in the base, you know?
yeah,
But I don't remember what he
uh,
said.
because I have a basic science approach, they've used
Hmm.
me more than just navigation.
Yep.
Uh, they tend to use me as navigation if they can, because it's so expensive to create a navigator that's human
Hmm.
or humanish. Humanish is probably closer. Um, but yeah, when I first said that I was an expensive asset, people freaked out. They thought it was ego, and it's not. It's as simple. CRISPR tech is expensive. A lot of us die in the process. Mind fracture is expensive. It takes several years. A lot of us die in the process. The training it takes time, and a lot of us die in the process. So yeah, it's expensive. It's not that I'm special, it's I somehow survived, is all.
Hmm. The trauma of being have in your mind of alters and stuff. Because a lot of people probably don't survive the trauma of being split, like drown or whatever it is.
Now, my first one was drowning. They put me head first into a tub.
Yep.
They do that first to teach you how to breathe underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the here and now, I was 7 years old and my dad was paying for swimming classes, and I ended up with pneumonia because I was breathing the pool. Gee, I
Oh.
wonder. Gee, I wonder why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Can breathe underwater.
Yeah, to be able to breathe in the regen tank, which was a green gel.
How did you breathe like that? How did you breathe it in without choking?
It wasn't that thick, and you got drowned enough, you lost that choke.
Oh, okay. You just disassociate and then you can do it because you have to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you wake up in the gel and you're already breathing.
Yeah. It's like that altar just does it.
Yeah. There
Wow.
it's this whole life and everything hangs together and it it's just as real as here now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. And explaining it, people can't understand it or see it. The like my family members and stuff. And so they're like, is she like making up stuff or is she got going losing her mind? Something.
when I
Yeah.
did my first couple of interviews, September and then one in October, in November, my son, my youngest, and my sister's son, so they're both blood relatives, they show up. I think we're having a pleasant family visit. It was just before Thanksgiving, and they both had work schedules. I'm thinking, it's just a Thanksgiving visit a couple of days early. And after about an hour and a half, 2 hours of pleasant conversation, my son gets up and announces, well, you're clearly delusional, but it's a stable delusion, and I think that you're able to handle your own affairs.
Mm.
And then I realized it was a psych evaluation. In California, two blood relatives can lock you up for a 72-hour evaluation.
Oh no, you don't want to do that.
And I looked at my son and I said,
Hmm.
if you lock me up, you are going to pay for it because
Mhm.
I'm not going to allow you to use my insurance for something I don't need. And he suddenly backed down really fast.
Yeah.
My nephew was actually angry because he thinks I belong in a mental hospital.
Mm.
Well, I've had a psych eval
Yeah.
since then, and the evaluation by a professional was, I'm not crazy. I am traumatized. I am so traumatized that being in the room with me sometimes traumatizes other people. That was the official evaluation.
Wow.
Ex- Extreme CPTSD, the worst case she had ever seen.
Mm.
And she asked me what my initial trauma was. I said, being raped at 4, being kidnapped and raped at 4 years old, raped in every body opening every day for 5 years.
Oh.
And she goes, oh. And she pulled up her legs into her chair, wrapped her arms around them, and wailed like an animal.
What?
that was her reaction to my initial trauma.
Wow.
I can't even talk to her about
Anything.
anything because that was her reaction to the short and sweet version of Langley.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Wow.
how do you talk about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how will people be able to, and everybody's different. So you can't just go to just it's best just to do what you did with with the shaman and just do it yourself and figure it
We
out, you know?
we've been doing it ourselves. Lou makes sure that it's actually me that's coming through and not an entity. And
Mm-hmm.
we've been doing this since about 2017.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good that he's there
So
for you.
it
He's
took
he's
me,
like your angel, like a wolf angel, then, huh?
yeah,
That's
it took me 3 years of research to figure out what I was remembering when the agent used my remember code.
oh,
Um, at the time, he acted like he thought he was activating an altar, but he was activating the altar's memories. And it was all in this big lump, and it was all in German, and the nastiest crap was at the top. And I had to work through all of that and try to figure out what I was remembering. And
yeah.
I went through and researched what people talked about because I knew the thing at the top was the cafeteria at the German school, Schule, on Mars, and the raptors had come through the wall. And I was so frightened that I formed a force field around me and about 40 kids.
Oh,
And eventually, the adults figured out what had gone on, used retelephoning, redialing, and actually went back in time and stopped the thing. Now, when they go back in time and change things, you remember both versions.
oh, okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, they went back and they saved everybody and stopped the raptors.
Oh,
But
good.
the initial event was these raptors came through the wall and they were straight out of Jurassic Park because that's one of the native life forms on Mars. And they had dug their way through and were attacking the kids in the cafeteria.
Mm,
And that was at the very top of my thing. And I'm going, okay, there is no place on earth that I know of where that could have happened. So
yeah.
where was I? And I ran across Randy Kramer. I ran across Michael Ralph. Um, I ran across several of the super soldiers, some of whom are now dead. Um, and that was when I figured out, especially from Michael Ralph and Andy Bajago, that it had to have been on Mars.
Yeah. You
Um,
reckon like a recognition or something, huh? Like how
well,
they describe it.
I just worked it like a police investigation almost.
Yep.
With this is what I remember. Where could this have happened?
Yep.
Who talks about it? And so that's why I can tell the community who else says what, is because I spent 3 years researching before I ever came public.
Mm-hmm.
I also already knew how to do self-hypnosis.
Oh, okay.
So when I got a new memory, I would go into self-hypnosis and I would ask my subconscious to pull back the curtains and show me what really happened. So that cuts off the cover memories right from the get-go.
And how do you know like that is that? Like that I'm not making that up or something with that, imagining it, you know?
If you ask your subconscious to show you what really happened, you get what really happened.
Okay.
Some of them were just dreams. Some of them I I had an every Friday memory of
Hmm.
being a mermaid in a kelp bed.
That doesn't match.
Those were cover memories for being abducted for service.
Yeah.
Every time I was abducted, they gave me the same cover memory of being a mermaid in a kelp bed.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I had to go through each and every one of them. And it was a lot of work. I told
That
you
is, it is a
it
lot.
took me it took me 3 solid years before
Mm-hmm.
I ever went public. I wasn't going to go public. My intention was to sit in a Facebook group and do peer counseling with super soldiers and SSP folks, and I would never have done an interview until Lou and I were both shot with dew
Oh.
3 times. The
Mm-hmm.
third time I told him, look, they're obviously planning to kill us. Bill Cooper said, if you know they're going to kill you, to hide in the spotlight. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they succeed, it verifies everything you've said.
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace, William Milton Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
He was murdered for telling us that Osama bin Laden was not behind 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of people in this community who end up dead.
Yeah.
Some of them it is natural causes, but a lot of them it's not.
Yeah.
So, did
A
I
lot of
miss
it's like
anything you
a lot
wanted
of
to
it.
cover?
Oh, I don't, I think we got it all. I think I was searching for, but yeah, that's good. That's a good coverage, That's like a good introduction of everything too. And um
For,
I know we
for
can find other stuff too,
yeah, for
maybe
people
another time.
that have bits and pieces of memories, it's okay. It really is. If you don't have any memories at all, just a sense that you were out there, count your blessings. Because those of us who actually have memories, they're generally not happy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for years, I've woke the neighbors up screaming from flashbacks.
Oh,
So usually about Langley,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, this
Yeah,
isn't something I would wish on my worst enemy.
for their memories to return.
Yeah, to have the memories I would not wish on my worst enemy. And the people who just insist on pushing, push, 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 push. You should count your blessings because this is hard. This is
Mm-hmm.
really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it changes your whole reality. It does. Once you start investigating all the places and you just kind of a darkness comes over you because you're just like researching until then to the next lead and then trying to figure it out and process it and deal with it and heal. And this is like a loop, cycle. And then dealing with regular life. So if you got to be in regular life, then those people and do this, that's kind of, I don't see how they could
Yeah,
function.
I don't see how they can function at all.
I wouldn't want to get up out of bed.
There are days I don't want to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
There are days I just don't want to deal with people at all.
Yeah,
Uh,
me too.
mm.
I'm just like, well, guess I'll stay offline today. The mood is not
I,
good.
I don't have that option. If I stay offline, I start getting phone calls.
They say, are you
Are
there?
you okay? No, leave me alone.
Yeah, like I'm taking the day off and don't bother me.
I, it's easier because I don't have a cell phone. So if I'm really in one of those moods, I put on sweats and I tell Lou, get me out of the house.
That's
Uh,
better. Mm-hmm.
and we just leave.
Yeah, that's better to get out of the house and go somewhere. It takes
Yep.
takes you out of the environment and see something else is better too, to change your mindset and pull you out of it. Even if it takes a whole day, then you come back and you feel a little bit better, that you got out of the house.
Well, if I've got out of the house, I haven't bit anybody's head off online.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just too much, like they just all the stuff that's said and made up and silly stuff too, like the altar thing that you talked about with the someone saying the the person's altar should be killed, and then here and now in the real life they don't even remember doing that. Like that's
Yeah.
like what?
Okay. A lot of people who are starting to remember will remember the nastiest stuff first because that's what's on top. And they will remember the person who did it. And they don't think about that that was that person's altar. And they go, oh my God, so and so did this and this and this and this and this. And they're righteously indignant. And if it were in the here and now and it was the real person, yes, it would be a real problem. And I understand their need for justice. But is it really justice if that person doesn't have a clue what you're talking about?
Hmm. Yeah, and how can they even prove it? You know what I mean? Like there's no, how could you even prove that that's just in your memory alone in this reality? Like, and they don't even know they did anything. So that's like way too much.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
as you remember more and more and more, you start to realize you did those things too.
Hmm.
Because these programs make sure that the victims become perps because it's part of their control mechanism. And once you realize how bad your alters are, you get to where you don't want to look anymore.
Hmm.
You want to just walk away, except you can't walk away from yourself. And
Hmm.
at some point, you have to come to peace with the fact that you were used for some really evil shit.
Yeah.
And that there's nothing you can do to ever make it right.
Mm-hmm.
And find some way to be at peace with that because you have to live with it.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and in the meantime, I try not to judge anybody else too harshly
Mm.
because I ain't a saint myself.
Yeah. I'm the same way. You know, I don't judge. Doesn't matter. Like, 'cause we've done it all. Every role. They probably have the same kind of roles everybody plays too. This, I don't think there's any role that we all are, there's like altars, oh, so many altars that you have, and then they're going to repeat some of those roles because they've run out of roles.
Well, the first time I realized that my alters were doing bad things, I was in one of Misha's groups. And there was this really nice lady that was from Austria. And she took one look at me and she turned green. I still don't remember her, but she definitely remembered me because she had a body reaction.
Mm,
And it was absolute terror.
mm,
So I know that at least the altar that she interacted with was not a nice person.
yeah, yeah.
So
She didn't even tell you what it was or who it was.
she told me something about that I was her drill sergeant.
Uh-huh.
That's all she said. She
Mm,
didn't want to think about it.
mm, yeah.
But the body reaction told it all. So,
Mm,
yeah, I do pay attention to how people react when they meet me.
yeah. I'm sure at first it's like, how does she remember all this stuff? You know, how does she have all of her memories? So I think that's what I thought. Like, how does she remember everything? But that's just, then you start to listen to all your interviews and see it's just like an investigation kind of thing. And you,
Yeah, it's been an investigation. As I reintegrated the altars,
mm-hmm,
I got their memories back.
mm-hmm.
And I don't remember everything.
Yeah, it's pieces.
I don't remember it all. I remember bits and I talk about the bits I remember. And as I get more altars reintegrated, it fills in details.
Yeah.
And sometimes they did different things. I have altars that I've reintegrated that I cannot talk about because it will get people killed if I do.
Yeah. That's what Sean said too. He said, "Oh, well, we can't talk about this even even off air because this will get you targeted." So
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
I'm like,
Sean's
"Oh,
really careful about it.
yeah." So I'm like, "Okay, then I don't want to know anything about that one." And if it's gonna get me targeted, then I don't even
Well,
it didn't matter, Like it's
I've
not
been
that important.
targeting. I've been targeted before I even knew.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I've
Mm-hmm.
been targeted for years. Uh, Something about being married to a mafia hitman, you start being targeted.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
And watched and followed and listened to, phone tap, everything. So
yeah,
that's it. That's the whole thing. Yeah, that's that's stressful life for sure. Hmm. So okay, well it's 10:22 here and it's 8:22, so we've been like 2 hours then, huh? Over
pretty
2 hours,
close.
2 hours and 22 minutes. That's cool. 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Yeah,
Cool. That's good. That was a good interview too. Yeah.
thanks.
I'm glad you came on and we met and everything too. So yeah, I wanted to do this for a while too. I think it's the right timing, like that too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the right timing too.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to do this again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of January I'm going to Cape Cod. My friend, she's moving, so she's paying me to help her pack up. And so I'm taking that opportunity to go with her she's going to pay me for the week. And then the rest of the time, we're just going to relax in a rental house she got on Cape Cod. So, and then that's right by Montauk area, huh? Like I saw like all that
Not too
area,
far, no.
the same kind of view, huh? Like ocean view. So
Yeah,
that's why it kind of feels familiar there. Something with that. That feels really familiar. So yeah, we'll do it again though. And um and we met at the conference and everything, the like that. So next time we meet in person, it'll be we'll know each other,
Well, I
so it'll
may
be
not be doing more conferences in person.
oh okay.
My spinal injuries are a bit of an issue.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's a lot to do all
I
that.
spent the last 2 years in a wheelchair all winter. So I had to do 12 weeks of physical therapy to be able to walk at the conference last year.
Yeah. And I
So
think you did a good job at the basis one where you was on the overhead and then you presented and you did really good presenting everything. So detailed. And then the end I saw you like on the big screen. So that was good too. It's like, wow, they did a good
thank
job
you.
with all of that, and you said you couldn't hear very well with that, so it's probably like they need to fix that so you
I
can
couldn't
hear.
hear I couldn't hear on the laptop, but
Mm-hmm.
it was a function of it being
The
a
mic.
laptop.
Yep. I remember because they was
So
low. It's like I had to turn it all the way up the volume, and I still, it's like, can't hear what they're saying. So something like
yeah.
that. Mm-hmm. But that was a good conference too, and you did a good job. Really
Thank you.
good. Yeah. That was very detailed presentation and organized too. Very organized. Yep.
Well, I'm going to let you go. He's got dinner
Yes.
about ready.
Oh, okay. It's your dinner time.
Yeah, it's dinner
Alrighty.
time.
Say hi to Lou for me and thank you for giving us time to do all this talking and stuff. I'm sure
Okay.
he's okay with that and the kitties too.
The kitties
Yeah.
hide when the green screen goes up.
Okay.
I
So
bumped it. I bumped into it too many times and scared them.
yeah, they think it's gonna fall on them, so they're like, heck no,
Yeah,
I'm out of here. So
yeah.
just send me your email on the messenger so I can send you the
Okay,
video too. Yeah, and I'll send it right over for you. So, okay, thank you, Penny.
okay.
Have a good night and Merry Christmas too, or Happy Holidays,
Merry
So,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye bye.